Most people limit themselves to preparing for scenarios involving either deflation or inflation, but why not both? At this point in time, it might be wise to also envision scenarios which involve a quote-unquote traditional deflationary shock, which eventually results in an inflationary spiral. Let's take the United States as an example. After the dot-com bubble burst, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates all the way down to 1%, a very dramatic move at the time. After the Great Recession, the market demanded more, and they had to be lowered all the way to zero, but that was not enough either. Eventually, money had to be quote-unquote printed to the tune of as much as $85 billion monthly, but as explained in another video, most of it did not end up in the quote-unquote real economy, and therefore, the result was asset price inflation at best, and certainly not consumer price inflation. Fast forward to the present, and once again, the market demands even more aggressive stimulus. However, this time around, there's a lot more pressure on the fiscal stimulus side, with governments asked to be just as aggressive as central banks. In other words, the market wants the money created by the Federal Reserve to also help Main Street rather than strictly Wall Street, from small business financing to sending the average individual a check, and the same principle is valid in other countries. Can anyone guarantee that the longer-term effects will involve inflation this time? Of course not, since nobody can predict the future, and those who claim otherwise are, well, charlatans. If the market keeps accepting the prescribed medicine, we are good to go for yet another cycle. But if it eventually loses confidence in the viability of perhaps even the currency system itself, an inflationary spiral can be just around the corner. With each stimulus episode, a fair case can be made that such outcomes become more likely, and therefore, at least taking them into consideration might not be the worst idea in the world.